fine.
10 minutes, Deputy Collins.
10 minutes, okay. And I presume you're finished, and I know it's great to have the inshore sector before us here in the committee today. I welcome Eamon, Michael and John. It's a rarity, but it's a hugely important sector. It has put bread and butter on many people's tables throughout the country, especially in our coastal communities, and it has been under pressure, because I obviously grew up in West Cork, and I would be very close to a lot of friends of mine that are inshore fishermen, and they tell me the difficulties that they're experiencing. And you might be able to, answer a few of these questions for me, and see, can we in some way going forward help you and put our shoulder stronger to the wheel than we have, maybe, considering the critical reliance on numbers of families across the expansive region of West Cork, and I know it, and throughout the country, Scull, Union Hall, Glendore, Castletown, Bear, Nadrigole, all the way into Bantry, Glengarriff, down to Kinsale, and various coastal communities on inshore fishing as a primary means of income. Could you provide a comprehensive analysis of the impact of the shrimp prices that fishing on these fishermen and their families have had over the last 2 years?
Yeah, I could. Shrimp fishing, as you know, is vitally important to West Cork, because probably we have the highest amount of inshore fishermen in the Irish coastline compared to other coastal counties. But it's the same all around the coast from Donegal up. But in particular, West Cork would have more shrimp fishermen than anyone else. The season normally, traditionally, has opened the 1st of August and closes in the middle of March. Last year and the year before, it opened to the processors I'm selling to. It opened in September and closed the end of November in 2022, and in 2023 some buyers opened again in the beginning of September and were closed again at Christmas. So at the moment, those of us who rely on that source of income do not have an income. And the couple of processors that did stay open are opened in August. The prices were about 1/3 of what they were in 2021. And if you take into consideration the fact that our costs have spiralled out of control, as in fuel, bait, pots, etc., have doubled, and your income has come down by that much, it leaves the families depending on it in a very vulnerable situation.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Furthermore, the industry has been grappling with the issue of low prices of brown crab. Could you explain how this has influenced the overall dynamics of the industry, and what are the financial implications for the fishermen, and how has this trickled down to affect their families?
Yeah, in West Cork, a lot of the processors have continued to buy them, but the price has been reduced 4 times from May to November, and traditionally in both brown crabs and shrimp, the price should reach its height at Christmas, whereas this year they weren't buying them at all at Christmas. So when traditionally we would be expecting to get the highest price, we were left being unable to sell them. But there were still, John alongside me is actually a brown crab fisherman, if he'd like to come in on the crab situation.
Yeah.
John, Matty.
Just to add to what Michael was saying, the processors in May that I supply usually open at early May. This year they didn't open till July, so you lost the first 2 months of your season, and they were no longer open till they were told they we got the call to say they were closed. They closed the start of November, and as Michael says, the most lucrative time and the best time for crab is coming up the lead up to Christmas, when you're expecting to make the bulk of your money to tide you over for the winter, but suddenly you're closed with very little warning, and you're left with nothing else to fish because of the lack of other opportunities in the inshore sector.
Okay. The industry has been witnessing spiralling costs that encompass a wide range of factors, from equipment to regulatory compliance, Could you shed light on how these escalating costs have added to the challenges faced by the fishermen, and how has this financial burden impacted their families, their quality of life and the future prospects?
Yeah, well, the price of everything is dictated by the price of fuel, whether you're getting product delivered or getting product taken away from you. So between the increase in cost of fuel for the vessel, first of all, and then the cost of storing and freezing bait, the cost of transport to market, all our costs have increased. But as primary producers, we are unable to pass on these increased costs, and we're supplying our suppliers, and in turn their costs are increasing. But they are able to cut the price that they paid us to soften their increase slightly. So we have to absorb our own increase in costs. We're getting the cut from the product we supply because of others' increase in cost. So we're getting squeezed from both sides, which in turn cuts your viability, which in turn you can't invest in your business. It's a struggle to maintain the business you have, which puts pressure on the people involved, their families. It puts an awful strain, not only financially but mentally, on people trying to survive with no supports.
You're saying there about the shrimp and the brown crab and the seasons have squeezed, like, you know, there's a month or two off the end and a month or two off the start. Are they getting this products elsewhere?
No, I think from what we've been told by our crab buyers is there, between the cost of storing the product, they are not willing to buy product to store on the chance of selling it. They're only buying for what markets they've guaranteed. They're not willing to take the risks at the moment because of the cost of storage and transport and everything. They're not going to take the risk of storing product that they may or may not sell later, and the longer they keep it, the cost is going up for them, so their margin isn't there either.
And what measures could potentially address these challenges and ensure that the sustainability and viability of this industry for the future?
Well, at the moment, one thing that could be done immediately to relieve pressure on the shellfish stocks is give us back some of the stocks that we had the ability to fish previously, whether it was herring, mackerel or other such things.
Okay, and just one other question. I just noted there in your opening statement, and if I can find it somewhere, at the end of February 2019, brought renewed hope to the inshore fishermen all around Ireland when the Minister of Agriculture at that time, Marine, Michael Creed, launched strategy for the Irish inshore fishery sector 2019-2023. This strategy set out a vision for the future of the inshore sector to provide a prosperous and sustainable future. It revolved around four main topics, and the question I'm asking, considering the inshore strategy was launched but not implemented by both the current or previous government, could you explain the rationale behind its initiation, especially given that such an action in the private sector would likely have significant consequences?
Yeah, we believe that had that actual strategy been implemented, we wouldn't be here today in front of this committee. Simple as that, because you can see, if I have it here, this is the inshore fisheries sector. It was a very, very comprehensive document. It covered all aspects of the inshore industry, and it would have involved us meeting constantly with Bord District Vara, BIM, the department and the processors, so that if the processors were getting overstocked with a particular type of stock, they could tell us and we could ease off on that or do something else. We were supposed to be able to target subsidies through the European Maritime and Fisheries Fund. There was, including Eamon, spent an awful lot of time and effort into designing it, and it's by it not being implementing, basically inshore, the lack of its implementation has left inshore in the state it's in today.